Now today is the seventh day of the clashes. 20 missiles were launched from Iran to Israel. And if you saw Tel Aviv in the morning hours, you would probably understand very well how the people of Gaza feel. If you were in Tel Aviv right now, let's bring those images to the screen, if I may ask. And especially in the morning hours, the more upscale neighborhoods where the financial center is located were hit. Could you bring up those morning images, please? Because you can see the images there more clearly. This is from the evening hours. There's quite a bit of damage to the buildings. Right now in Tel Aviv, remember when there was that big explosion in Beirut? All the broken glass. The windows still hadn't been fully repaired. This is the situation in Tel Aviv right now, as you can see. And, for example, in the morning there were images showing that only 3 supersonic missiles had landed on the buildings or in the area. It's being reported that a hospital was hit. So, what do you think the Iranians are saying about this? They're saying exactly the same things, word for word, that Israel said when they hit the hospital in Gaza. You know, they used to say there are military bases under this hospital, there are underground tunnels. Now the Iranians are saying the exact same thing. They're saying, yeah, we hit a hospital, but why did we hit it? They're saying there was actually a military presence here. They hit a hospital in the city of Shiva. And one of the rockets also landed in the consulate area. Look, they're saying there's a military hospital under this hospital. They're saying, actually, they were working here to protect themselves. That's what they were doing. Israel, on the other hand, says, no, they are targeting civilians. They've started hitting hospitals. So it turns out that those who make these things happen in the world are experiencing them themselves now. When I see these images, if you remember, we reported for days about the hospitals being hit in Gaza. We kept asking, why are they hitting hospitals? In Tel Aviv, the situation in the morning hours, this is actually one of the best neighborhoods, was exactly like this. Now, of course, everyone's eyes and ears are on the American president, Trump. What will Trump do? Trump seems to be caught in a dilemma. It looks like if something is going to happen, it will happen towards the end of this week. There's a lot of pressure. What kind of pressure is there? Israel has a lobbying organization in the United States. They don't admit to being directly connected to Israel, but they operate as a Jewish lobby. AIPAC is very influential. Think of it like Fito was here for a while. The other day, in the U.S. Congress, a Democrat, I can't remember the name right now, a Democratic representative spoke out. He said, you know, when we need to write something, we ask the person at AIPAC who's responsible for us. Whenever it's about Israel or Gaza or anything related to the Middle East, the journalist is surprised and asks, what do you mean, the person responsible for you? Well, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, everyone has someone at AIPAC who's responsible for them. You know how we had big brothers here, like in FET, there were older brothers, someone responsible for a certain area. They've organized themselves in exactly the same way. It's like man-to-man marking, one-on-one. For example, when Israel starts attacking Iran, you see the exact same message from all the members of Congress. Our prayers are with Israel, and so on. Now, this was already being talked about before, but mostly it stayed at the level of a conspiracy theory among the Democrats or leftists, left-leaning Americans, regarding the influence of AIPAC or their rhetoric. For the first time, Republicans have started to debate this among themselves, especially an interview that was published yesterday, which I actually sat down and watched today. I didn't mind taking the time. There's a Republican named Ted Cruz. He was also a candidate for the Republican presidential nomination. And he's being interviewed by Tucker Carlson, who is also a MAGA, or let's say, a hardcore Republican journalist. Now, Tucker Carlson is an interesting guy. At one point, he was deeply caught up in alcoholism. He was pretty much a loser, a journalist with not much going for him. Then he made a comeback. After his comeback, he worked at Fox for a while. During Trump's first term at Fox, he was basically Trump's biggest supporter. Let's put it that way. Then he got fired from Fox. After getting fired, he moved to Twitter. On Twitter, especially Elon Musk started supporting him. And just like we started doing broadcasts on YouTube, he began doing broadcasts on Twitter. And interestingly, for example, he went and met with Putin. That's pretty interesting too. Apparently, the CIA found out about his meeting with Putin. You know that thing called Signal? People think Signal can't be tracked, that nothing can happen to it. The CIA found out about it just like that. They even talked to the guy before he went. Let me open a parenthesis here. Anyway, bring that interview up on the screen. Here he's doing an interview with Ted Cruz. And the interesting part of the interview is this. He says this. He goes, "Why are we defending Israel so much anyway? I mean, why are we doing whatever Israel says?" The guy says, "Well, Iran this and that." He's just making stuff up, and Ted Cruz says, "Because they tried to kill Trump." Asks, "Where did they try to kill him?" The reply, "We haven't heard." He says they've tried for 2 years. He's just making it up. He asks, "What kind of country is Iran? What's the population?" "I don't know," he says. "I don't know how many or who are alive." He says, "How do you not know? You defend this, say we should attack, so Israel can strike." He asks, "Why defend this?" And he also wrote a letter. He opens it and says, "Look, see how you betrayed Trump. You're anti-Zionist," he says. It turns into a pretty tense interview. I mean, the guy is laughing on one hand, but he says, "You're just taking the easy way out here. We say we shouldn't go to war against Israel every time. You label me as anti-something, as anti-Trump." They get into an interesting debate, saying there's no such thing. Actually, the symbolic meaning of this is important. It's kind of like a summary of what's happening behind closed doors in Washington right now. Because a group of Republicans are saying, "Why are we getting into this war? It's not our war. If Israel wants to get involved, let them do it. Benjamin Netanyahu has dragged us into different wars before, and now he's doing it again. Why? Because Israel is trying to carve out a space for itself in the Middle East, and it's using America to do it." From time to time, I mentioned this too. When you look at it from the outside, it seems like America is using Israel as its proxy in the Middle East. But actually, it's the exact opposite. Israel is the one pulling the strings. Especially, the Jewish lobby is so powerful in the media and Congress with AIPAC and all that, that up until now, no one has dared to speak out against it. In particular, the Republicans never spoke up. But now, for the first time, such a debate has started in Washington. That's why Trump isn't saying anything clear. In other words, he says it could happen. He says he might strike. He might not strike. He says something big is coming. But he also says he may not come. So, as far as I can tell, things are not very clear in their minds. But right now, after those scenes you just saw in Tel Aviv, I don't think the United States will leave Israel alone. They're already involved in this war. I mean, de facto, they're in it. But whether they'll officially declare it or not, we'll see in the coming days. But I think the impact of these images will be different in Washington. In other words, what's happening here won't just stay here. These images will increase the pressure even more. Meanwhile, Iran isn't standing still either. Iran is also making its position very clear. And even though the death toll is currently much higher in Iran, still, for now, nothing is happening. So, you might be wondering, what is Trump doing while all this is going on? He's putting up a flagpole. I'm not joking. He put up 2 flagpoles at the White House, each 27 meters tall. And yesterday, he hung out with the workers for 45 minutes, talking, chatting, and speaking with the media. He took individual photos with the workers in front of the crane. There's one scene in particular. It's so funny, honestly, it's the funniest thing I've seen in years. Look, there's a crane operator up there, dozing off. Trump is taking individual photos with all the workers right there. I guess the guy doesn't realize he's making history. We could call it the nap of the year, sleeping in the crane while the President of the United States is taking photos with people right in front of you. I mean, it's one of the most glorious naps ever. Trump even turns around and cracks jokes with the journalists. I watched the press conference last night. You know those daily shows that air every evening? I watch those too. Because now, the main news bulletins are pretty much irrelevant. It's the same story in America and here too. I'm not saying this to belittle them. Do you want stronger opposition? Just turn on the TV in the evening and watch Jimmy Kimmel or any of the others. You see, there are 5 or 6 of these shows. These guys are doing some incredible criticism. I see it there. For 45 minutes, he talks about the flagpole and cracks jokes. I mean, there's a saying for this, but I won't say it. I mean, but as you can see, the Middle East is on fire. And, well, we're in the United States. Everyone's eyes are on that. Everyone's wondering what will happen, what they'll say. So that's the situation we're experiencing right now.